So I cut the cords from going in his direction and also from coming in my direction. So his ailment was it's still resonating with me and coming into my hands. Then I felt around my hands to see if there was any area in the aura that needed patching. Maybe there were some holes somewhere. Is there any place that needs to be patched up? And patching is actually easily done and can be seen by another aura viewer. Just smoothing over an area where you feel like there's a hole, maybe a little cooler, not the same amount of substance that you feel when you push up against the aura. And just visualize that you're smoothing that aura over, like with clay, and patching it up. A lot of love for my own aura. Filling that space with so much love that it's hard for somebody else's energy contagion to live in there at the same time. And loving myself, reminding myself I'm worth it. I don't need to be taking on someone else's pain. Moving your body a lot, dancing, massaging yourself, anything that gets the energy and lymph flowing. Sitting, that's very good. Sitting there for too long, that allows the lymph to stagnate, the energies to stagnate. That's terrible if you're doing healing work. You don't want to be doing it if you have to be sitting, especially inside, especially if you're in bad air, which most indoor air is, unless you have a purifier or something that's putting out negative ions. It's normally best for us to be around a lot of negative ions, which we might be around in the ocean, the mountains, the forests. If we're indoors or in the city, we probably have very few negative ions and many more positive, and that's draining in itself. Taking a lot of deep breaths, cleansing breath, maybe doing pranayama, breath work, maybe doing mantras, any kind of tantric exercises are great. Visualizing, stilling your mind, releasing your own ego and personality at that point and just going into the stillness. That can help. Getting your alkaline and acid pH balanced is important as well for that. If you're too alkaline, taking hydrochloric acid, drinking cranberry juice, vitamin C, things like that can help. If you're too acid, more fresh fruits and vegetables and raw foods. If the myofascial sheath is stuck, as it is in most people to some degree in various places, to your organs and your bones and your skin, then the energy flow can't move through your body like it should, and it will get stuck in those places. So the more you can get that type of myofascial work, release work done, the more luck you'll have in getting rid of this. One meditation that's very helpful is the astral vacuum cleaner meditation, which I made up. I like to imagine I have a little friend, a little pet vacuum cleaner that follows me around. It's there whenever I need it, and it can be tiny and invisible until I need it to become there and tangible to me. And I'll imagine flipping a switch, and it will pull that energy out, suck it out into the tube, go out the window and become inert and go down into the ground and not cause any problems. If I need more of it, I imagine flipping the switch even farther and even hearing in my mind what it's like when you're vacuuming and you go over little bits of metal objects. You know, really visualize it as carefully as possible. And that really does suck a lot of that energy contagion out. But all these things are much more effective if you do it immediately, as soon as it comes in, and it's hard for some people if you don't get it right away. Another thing you can do is imagine the opposite type of energy from what you took on. If you're working with somebody who's got an overheated condition, imagine something cooling. And some part of you knows the exact opposite frequency of what you took on. Draw in that into your body. Think of the exact opposite frequency of the person you're working with. Work a little bit more on that repulsion that way. doing something that makes you laugh, something that's creative and fun and playful. When you get to the point where you've done all those things, you may still have some energy there to work with, but if you feel good enough at that point, and you can do some lucid play, which is what I call it, playing from a trance, a high state of awareness, letting your spirit just move you and coming up with something fantastic in the process, or just enjoying yourself thoroughly in some way, that can really help move it through. Laughter itself is very healing. It pushes things out of your body that don't need to be there. And putting your hands down on the ground and just letting it go, and imagine it sucking it out. Imagine there's something down in the ground that's pulling magnetically on all that energy, and shaking your hands regularly. The more you can do what I call lucid play healing, the less you take on, because you're not taking the responsibility solely for that healing. You're not willing it to happen in spite of all odds. For one thing, you're doing it in a sense of lightness and play, without a lot of pressure, without a hard agenda like this must happen now. You're playing with it in a loose way. But also the other person is playing with it and participating. For example, in this case, we worked with the dynamics between Dale and Carolyn. What did they need to do to make their working relationship improve, which would help her health and his health? They're complementary people. They can cause difficulties for each other in some ways, and to get them to openly communicate about that to each other and express their feelings and come up with some strategies for improving that, that was part of the healing for both of them. And another way that lucid play works with their participation is actual playfulness. And so with Dale, we did work with, we played with puppets and games and making things up and coming up with silly absurdities. And that helped his health tremendously with all the laughing. So getting them involved so that they know what you're doing, they know why you're doing it, what their role is. It's all done in a way where it's more flowing because of the humor and the lightness, instead of tight because of worry of, is this going to work? It makes it more successful.